Welcome to my kitchen. This is week 2 of the Make Room for the Holidays Declutter Challenge, and we are getting ready for the holidays in the kitchen this week because you know that when the holidays come around, there's a lot of baking, there's a lot of cooking, there's just a lot of action in your kitchen. And so I want to make sure that it is functional and easy to use and ready for all of that action that's going to happen in the next couple of months. So if you've been joining me, you know that we are in our second week of decluttering. Last week we started with the bathrooms, and the reason why I started with the bathrooms and now we're moving on to the kitchen is so that you just have a starting place, so that you know what to do and hopefully can take some action. I think sometimes when we have a cluttered home or we know that we need to get some decluttering and organization done, it can just feel overwhelming when we think about the entire home. And so what I've tried to do is just kind of give you some places to start and then give you some action steps to take as you declutter your home. And then hopefully this will give you momentum to do even more in your home, because once you start and you see the benefits of decluttering, then it's like the ball gets rolling and you get all excited and you're ready to, declutter some more spaces. So if you can't tell, decluttering is basically my love language. I love to declutter and I love to organize. So today I'm just gonna share with you a quick tour of, well, I shouldn't say quick, I don't know how long it'll be, but a tour of my kitchen cupboards. You can get behind the scenes looks at how I have organized my kitchen so that it can run smoothly and effectively as I cook in here. Okay, so let's start up here in the everyday dishes. So this was one of the key areas that I said you should declutter in your kitchens. And you can see that I don't have a ton of plates and bowls. These stack really nicely. They're the Corelware dishes, and so they don't take up a whole lot of space, which I love. But even up here in my glasses and travel mugs, I don't have a ton of them. And the reason is that we do our dishes every single night before bed. I always go to bed with a kitchen sink that is clear and clean and doesn't have any dishes in it. And if you've been a part of my community for any length of time, you have probably heard me say, wash your dishes every single night before bed. And I kind of preach it at you because I just wholeheartedly believe that it can make such a difference in your evenings and in your mornings. And so because of that, we don't need a ton of dishes because they're getting washed every day, so we have enough up here. So that's what I have up here. And then I also have some of my mixing bowls, and I use these on a daily basis as well when I'm cooking or baking. So anyways, then let's go ahead and move over to this cupboard above my stove. And there's not a whole lot of usable space here, and so what I've done is I've put some of my smaller appliances that I don't necessarily use all the time, but I use on a pretty regular basis. So I have my cooking spray because it's right above my oven or my stove where I cook, and then my blender, my I can't even think of what that is called, my shredder. I use that on an almost daily basis as well, and then my can opener and my toaster. I know you might be thinking, your toaster's not on your counter, but what I found is that it just was taking up a lot of space, and it's just as easy for me to take it down when I want to use it 3 or 4 times a week, and then put it back up in my cupboard. And even some weeks I don't even use the toaster because we might, have oatmeal for breakfast or cereal or something like that. And so I don't need my toaster every single day. So I decided to just keep it up here, and it's really easy to take in and put back away. Okay, then we're gonna move on to the next cupboard. All right, so I don't have a pantry, but I use this cupboard here basically for my dry goods. So I have all my boxed things, canned goods, and then most of our drinks, and then just some random things up here. And I used to actually have this whole cabinet. It was just a huge mess. And so this past week I went through and I said, you know what, I need all of my pantry items in one cupboard instead of I had pantry items, I had baking goods, I had kids snacks, and it was a mess, to be honest with you. And so this past week when I was decluttering and reorganizing, I decided just my pantry items were going to go here, which is a big thing when you are going through your kitchen. You want to think, what is the purpose of each space, and make sure it's only being used for that purpose. Okay, so next up is this cupboard, and this is one over in the corner, so there's some kind of spaces back here that aren't easily accessible, but what I've done is I've put some of those glasses that I was talking about that were extra glasses that we only use like if guests come over, like that type of thing. I've put those up here, and then I also have some like my Christmas mugs and other seasonal mugs up here as well, so that they're out of the way, but at the same time they're easily accessible when I want to get to them. And then I have my dish towels up here. I have one of my smaller crock pots back here. I use this, you know, a couple of times a week, and so it's easy to get to. My coffee filters and my coffee mugs that I use. I only have about 4 coffee mugs out because that's all that I really need to use right now. Probably in the next couple of weeks, we will put out some more mugs just because my kids will start to drink out of mugs as well because of, you know, the hot drink season. And my coffee pot is right underneath of this cupboard, and so it's just really easy and it just makes sense to have it there. And then this is where I keep all of my plasticware lids, and this was a key area that I said to declutter as well in your kitchen. You want to make sure that all of your food containers have matching lids, and vice versa. All of your lids have a matching container. If they don't, get rid of it. If you have like these plasticware containers, they easily get damaged, and so if you have some that are really just not looking so hot, just get rid of them. Tell them goodbye. And I did say in my post that one of my favorite food containers are these Pyrex containers. They are glass containers, and then they have lids that go on top of them. Let me see if I can get to it. I have a couple right here. And I absolutely love these containers, and actually I plan on replacing some of my plastic ones with these glass ones. Now, obviously I can't send these in my husband's lunches, but they're great for things like storing produce that's been cut up and prepared for the week, or leftovers. These are great dishes for that. Okay, so the last cupboard in my kitchen is my baking cupboard. And again, this cupboard used to be a hot mess, just like my pantry cupboard, but I decided this is where I want to have all of my baking goods. So you can see that I have kind of my flour and sugars, my mixer, hand mixer, some seasonings, my oil all down here. And then I have some sprinkles, vanilla, and mint extract, my measuring cups up here, because it's all here. And so when I want to do some baking, I can just come over here and I know exactly where it's at. I don't have to dig through my kids' snacks or my pantry goods to find what I need. It's all right here and easily accessible. Okay, now we're going to go under my kitchen sink, and I like to call this the big black hole because it can become a place where just like things get shoved down in there and you kind of forget about them for a long time. So I try my best to not just throw things underneath in my sink, but to really have a purpose for it. And so I'm going to go through each of it here and just show you 2 things that I really like under my kitchen sink. I think a lot of times people think that you have to have all these fancy, organizing containers and things for under the sink, and you really don't. One of my favorites is this. I have a little command hook under the sink here, and one of those little, I don't know what you even call it, just a clip that you can use for like a curtain rod. And I have my cleaning gloves on there, and these cleaning gloves came from Grove. I love the Grove's cleaning gloves. They're just really durable and they're comfortable. So anyways, highly recommend. But I keep those right there so that I can use them whenever I am washing the dishes. If I don't use them when I'm washing the dishes, my hands get really dry, especially during the winter months. Okay, next is just some cleaning supplies. I have my baking soda, my dish soap, dishwashing soap. Back here is my borax. I like to put in a couple of teaspoons of borax once a week in my garbage disposal and run it through. And then a backup vinegar. This is vinegar that I use in my dishwasher to rinse out the dishes every time I run it through. Dish soap. I have trash bags back there, and then I have 2 baskets. And these baskets right here, I believe it's I think it's a Sterilite brand of baskets. I love these baskets. I have some in white as well. They're just really handy. They come in a small, medium, and a large type size, and they're perfect. Like, this is where I keep a lot of my rags and my my microfiber cloths and like my mop microfiber cloths. Those all are in there, easily to get to. And then I also keep my favorite sponges. They're kind of worn out, but these are my heavy duty Scotch-Brite sponges. And then I also keep a couple of old toothbrushes down here because they're great to clean the inside of the sink and garbage disposal where it can get kind of yucky. So that's under my sink area. Okay, so next we're gonna go under this little narrow cabinet, and it took me the longest time to figure out what to use this cabinet for, but it has a small shelf way in the back, and I use that to put my colander on, and it's just really handy because it's right there by the sink where I would use it. And then I have my drink thermos, my Bubba cup. I use this almost daily, and because it is so tall, I can't fit it in my cupboard, so I like to keep it down here with my drink pitchers. We don't use these often, but we use them enough that I like to have them pretty accessible, and they just fit well here. And then I also have like my potluck heat casserole carrying dish and a tray that I use mostly for parties and things like that. All right, now we're moving into this section, and this is where I keep my pots that I use on a regular basis. And then next to it, I have another one of those Sterilite baskets that I keep all the lids to those pots right next to it. And I keep those right here next to my stove because, again, it's easily accessible to get to. I also keep these glass casserole dishes right up here on this shelf. Because I use those on a regular basis. And then I have space way back here that isn't super easy to get to. So I have things like my waffle maker, my popcorn popper, my cake carrying container, a bundt pan. Those items that I don't use on a regular basis, I don't have to get to them every day or even every week. And so they're in the back where I can get to them when I need them, but I don't have to like go over my pots and pans every single day to get to them. All right, so last we're gonna go through my drawers here in the kitchen. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this video. I hope it's been an encouragement and an inspiration to get you moving on your kitchen as well. Let's go look at the drawers. Okay, right above where we just were, we have two drawers. This one is right by my sink, and so I like to keep my dish rags here, and I actually need to fold a load of dish rags, so that's why there's not many in there. And then next to that is my drawer where I keep my hot pads, and it's right next to my stove, so it's just a really great place to put it. Then if we move along right over here, this drawer holds all of our like silverware and some utensils that I use on a regular basis. And so that was something else that I mentioned. You're gonna wanna go through your utensils and really ask yourself, do I use this on a regular basis? Do I have multiples of this that I really don't need? And if that's the case, then say goodbye to them. You don't need a bunch of, different, utensils that you don't necessarily use all the time. Okay, and then next, this deep drawer was kind of hard for me to figure out how to use it, but what I've decided is it's good for my paper goods. So I have paper plates, napkins, bag clips, and then just, my wraps and my plastic bags. And then these two items are just in here because of their size, and this is where they fit. Okay, and then last, we're gonna go to this bottom drawer, and this is just our snack and bread drawer. So I kept it down here so that it's easily accessible for my kids. They can get out their own snacks sometimes. Like if I say, okay, you can have a graham cracker, then my son can come and just pull out that box and get what he needs. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really excited to hear about your decluttered kitchens. You've seen mine. Now I want to see yours. I want to see the progress that you're making. Like I said in my videos about the bathrooms, one drawer is one drawer. It doesn't matter. One cupboard is one cupboard. Just start somewhere and make some progress, and then you're going to keep making more progress, and it's going to get easier. You're going to love it even more. And so I want to see your progress. Tag me, Queen of the Household. You can use the hashtag Make Room for the Holidays on Instagram. On Friday, I'm going to have a post where you can just share your pictures or share your thoughts about the decluttering process, and because I want to hear how it's going one for you. Next week, we are talking all about clothes. I'm gonna talk to you about how to declutter your clothes and then also your kids' clothes. And I'm gonna show you my kids' closets and just how I organize their clothes and the different seasons and things like that. I think you're really gonna enjoy it. So make sure that you stick around. If you haven't liked the Queen of the Household, then like the page, follow along, and I will see you throughout the week and keep encouraging you as you declutter your home.